Okay, we're back in session. The next speaker will be Tracy Coward.
My name is Tracy Coward. I live in Clyde. I've lived in Clyde since I got out of the Army in 1982. I'm a voter and I'm a taxpayer. First of all, Mr. Chairman, you kind of sidestepped the question when you were asked if any of this was going to go to our landfill. Would you care to go ahead and answer that now?
The answer is no.
Okay, where's it going to go? What can't be, we need to come up with this
You
answer.
ask me a question, and if you'll be quiet, I'll answer it. Wherever they choose to take it. Except it can't go into Haywood because it is contractually obligated and it's at its maximum. Can't take anymore.
Mr. Allison, where is this trash going to go that you can't process and recycle? Where? East Tennessee is 2 locations. You said 3? We're still looking for the 3rd one. Good answer. Man, really, this is the kind of business we want to bring into Haywood County. I'm appalled. I'm amazed. We're creating no jobs with this, virtually no jobs. I've had to drive to Asheville for the last 32 years because I can't get a job in Haywood County. But that's okay. I'll live with that. The facility that I work at in Asheville has been begging for people to work. So if you'll hit me up, if you need a job, if you'll hit me up, I can set you up with that after the meeting. And it starts out higher than the $30,000 that we're being offered by Mr. Allison. I understand, Mr. Swanger, from listening to your opening remarks about this, you kept saying they will do this, they are going to do this, they will do that, they will do the other. I hope I'm wrong, but this sounds like a done deal. I really hope I'm wrong. I also understand that you're not running again. I understand that you may have some property in Florida that you hope to retire to. Enjoy your retirement, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not going to respond to any of the personal attacks or any of the misinformation or disinformation. That's unprofessional. We're running a meeting here, and it's not some kind of gotcha game. Okay. Next will be John, and I'm sorry I can't read. It looks like KOVACEVICTF or something like that. He had to leave? Oh, okay. All right, next is Deborah Crucius, I think. C-R-U-S-I-U-S, Crucius? Okay, I'm sorry.
Hello, gentlemen. I am Deborah Crucius. I've come here to tell you that I am against this. I have a house up on the hill, right, and look down at the industrial park. And anything that we have not heard tonight is we will find out in the future if you gentlemen vote for this. And the congestion of the 18-wheelers are just going to multiply. We already have congestion. And I am a Haywood County resident, I am a voter, and I do pay taxes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Donna Lynn Crucius.
My name is Donna Crucius, and I have been living in Beaver Dam since 1979. As far as the road is concerned, y'all canceled me for my little private road. So as far as I'm concerned, I hope y'all do cancel this big recycling plant. We don't need it. Besides that, the roads are only single roads, going one way and coming back the other. And you'd have to do some really big renovation for the public roads. Thank you for listening.
C.C. Hicks.
Good evening. I am one of the few in this room tonight that I want to thank you, County Commissioners, for doing your due diligence on this project, for answering all these questions. I know there's still some questions that maybe need to be answered again, but I appreciate you taking the time. It's been a long evening. But on behalf of the Haywood County Chamber of Commerce, I want to commend you and the Economic Development Council for being progressive, responsible, and thoroughly investigating the proposed regional recycling center. You are solving problems of tomorrow, and you're investing in our future and our children's future in a company that provides a solution to a problem of unsightly landfills. It is in everyone's best interest to do what is best, for the economic progression of the county in creating and sustaining a successful environment. RRS is a perfect fit for the Beaver Dam industrial site, and it joins other companies plus Lennon, Conmet, and Carolina Conveying, also located in Beaver Dam industrial site. RRS, I've done my research, I watched the video. It's an impressive, state-of-the-art recycling center, which will provide quality paying jobs, capital investment in Haywood County. This is a good deal for Haywood County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ken Flint.
My name is Kenneth Flint. I've lived in Haywood County for the last 7.5 years. And like Ms. Hips, I want to commend our commissioners. I appreciate their endeavor to bring jobs, to bring capital investment into Haywood County. In my role, in my current job at Western Carolina, I spend a great deal of time in economic development. I have spent 40 years in economic development. Now, I'm not here to debate some of the particulars, and by the way, I appreciate everybody's knowledge and passion about what you're supporting, or in this case, opposing for the most part. But I can tell you from 40 years in economic development, if the numbers we see are true and if they come through, this is a major improvement for us. We need jobs. We need jobs for our children. We need to broaden our tax base, which these numbers will do with $25 million of investment. And I can appreciate that everyone has their own personal feelings, and I really appreciate the way you articulated those. Happily, I'm not in political office. I'm not running for political office, and I guess I'm particularly not running for any popularity contest in this room tonight. But again, I want to say, and that's fine. But I want to say thank you for trying. However this final decision goes, I think I admire the fact that you fought very hard to do this, to make it better for our county, our citizens, our workers, and our children. And so I want to thank you again on behalf of myself as a taxpayer and a voter, and on behalf of someone who really has a great love for this county and this region and wants to see us continue to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Lewin Burrell.
Well, I probably won't make a politically correct speech here. I'm not dressed for it. However, we've got, looks like a farmer trying to run a recycling business. Now, I ain't got anything against farmers. Good old American ingenuity, they can do, every one of them. They don't go to Europe to hunt it either. They do it right out of this country. And so this thing, I've done a whole lot of engineering, I've done a whole lot of different stuff. But the biggest opposition that I've got to this thing is the way the county commissioners has handled everything out there on Beaver Dam with me, because they run right over the top of you. And if you've got any thing to say about it, like I've got a road out there, and they own the land for this road, but they don't have the right to use it unless they increase the upkeep on it, and which they don't do, which they never have used. But this one time when they built the laundry out there, they got up there, done the grading, and left no berm at the top of the bank for the water, left it up high. It wasn't wide enough for a vehicle to travel on. And I had a 30-foot right-of-way there, by the way. But anyway, what they tell you and what they do is a different thing. I'm going to tell you that right now. You cannot, if you want to know when they're not telling the truth, watch their lips. When they move, they're not telling the truth. When their hands move, they're thieving from you. So that's how you tell what they're doing. But anyway, I'm getting some age on me, but I'm still working hard, and I hope I continue to. The Lord bless me to. But this road, the last experience I had out there, they come out there, and their construction man that graded out this site they're talking about using, knocked it way down into my road and used it for a week and a half, tore it all to pieces, and then claimed they didn't use it. And I had the commissioners, now Mark wasn't the chairman then, Larry Ammons was, but they come down there and they both denied that they owed me anything. Now, when I owe them 1 penny, they'll send me a bill in the mail and say, you owe me a penny. If it costs them 25 cents to send it, they'll still send me that bill. So I think they should pay just like I have to pay. When it comes time, they should pay. That's the reason I trust not this man right here. I don't know him. But if he's affiliated with these men right here, I don't trust him.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is, again, I'm having difficulty with the deciphering the name. I believe it's Sarah Martin, maybe? It's not printed, it's just written, so okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Sarah Martin. I'm a professor of environmental biology at Haywood Community College and the biologist for the Friends of the Rough Creek Watershed. Recycling is extremely important to me, and at my home we support sustainable industry and businesses. We recycle everything that comes from our home. We pre-cycle everything that comes into our home. I looked into this project with a very open mind. I was actually really excited about it initially when I saw that this was coming to Haywood County. But there were several red flags for me. Some of them have been answered this evening, and I appreciate the presentation at the beginning. One thing that I was concerned about was the fact that we are receiving trash from a very large region. Adding another facility that's going to be also bringing trash from a very large region into our county makes me concerned about where do all the non-recyclables go. And Mr. Allison has said he's trying to procure another location. Would this location potentially be here in Haywood County? That's something that I am concerned about, or at another location very close to here where we would be bringing a lot of waste from other neighborhoods, other areas, other industries to our neighbors. The idea of incineration has already been addressed. I appreciate that very much. Another thing that I was concerned about is whether or not this is a very good fit for the current plans for the area. Currently, the Rough Creek watershed is being touted as a gem of the county. It's one of the main focal points of several grant-funded initiatives to help generate excitement about our area. How will this facility fit into that goal? How will it affect the water quality in our county? And I do want to remind you all that air and water know no boundaries. So everyone that lives near here, this is not just an issue for Beaver Dam, it would be an issue for everyone who is downstream. And Haywood County is the headwaters for a very large region of the United States. And so we need to think very carefully about when we bring polluting industries into our community. I think that we should want to attract people and businesses to Haywood County. And I would think that we would want to attract industry that would generate positive momentum for our community. If we currently look at a lot of the growth in the area, things like breweries, outdoor gear-oriented businesses, things that, would be very nice to have come to our community. In fact, Patagonia, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with, actually looked at this site a long time ago, and they decided that they didn't want to come here because of the air quality issues with the paper mill. But the air quality issues are cleaning up. We're moving forward with that, and I think that we could attract other industries to come to this site now. People are moving to this area. It's growing as a community. The exit's prime for business. How are these ideas going to mix with this business if it comes to our area? I also was concerned that Mr. Allison said that he would meet with the community and then did not come to the community meeting that was scheduled. If he really wanted to show us this was good for our community, I would think that he would know that there was nothing for us to be concerned about, and I'm worried about his experience. We have a small business, and you have to have good business plans, and I just don't see that.
Eddie Cabe. Eddie Cabe.
Hello, my name is Eddie Cabe. I live in the Beaver Dam 1 community. I know a little bit about recycling. When I got out of the Air Force at Homestead Air Force Base, I went to work for Nationwide Construction Company, and we built the largest recycling plant in North America at the time. It went bankrupt. It does not work for a variety of reasons. One thing I want to address is this 25 tons of air, 3 trucks an hour. If you work an 8-hour shift, that's approximately 26 trucks, 130 tons. If 20% of that is non-recyclable, single-stream waste, it's got to go somewhere else. You're talking about 5 truckloads a day that's got to be turned around. So all these people that's complaining about their narrow roads with trucks, now you got 5 more truckloads that's got to turn around and take this stuff back somewhere else. Another thing that I'm concerned about is this single-stream waste recycling that's going to take up 20 to 25% of the space in this facility. This trash is like kitchen trash. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, from light bulbs. Mercury vapor sounds good when you turn on them bright lights, but when it's busted in the facility and gets in your water, it don't sound it's not no good. Nickel, cadmium batteries, all this stuff is going to go into this facility, and as he described, the bag opening procedure where they've got iron rods that rip the bags apart and take everything out of it so it can go onto the conveyor belts. Facilities like this consist of bunches of conveyor belts. And when it dumps this trash out of the trash bags, all the glass breaks, the light bulbs breaks. Look up the cleaning procedure when you break one of these new government light bulbs. It's full of mercury. And another thing, recycling that works is from industry. I worked in the plastic industry for about 30 years, and when we'd take our recyclables and we would sell it, and the reason we would sell it because it was clean, good recyclables, and there's people out there that's in the market for it. The same way this gentleman talked about paper. If you've got good, clean paper, you can sell it because there's people in the marketplace for it. Okay, now I'm going to tell you why this gentleman can't get no money for his product. Because of this single-stream trash. when these machines rip these bags open, what's in your kitchen bags? How many of you's got babies or grandbabies? Dirty diapers, chicken scraps, chicken skin. What you don't eat goes in your trash. And you know that stuff inside the dirty diapers, that brown stuff? It
Thank you,
gets
Mr.
on the
Cade.
conveyor belt.
Your time is up. Thank
And
you.
it gets spread all through the equipment,
Ira,
and
can
then
you
the
reset the timer,
plastic
please?
and the paper and all that stuff is not resellable.
Ken Sneed is the next speaker.
Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for listening to us today. I'm one of those 9 insignificant homes in the Green Mountain subdivision. We bought here like 6 years ago. We absolutely love the area. It's beautiful. We sit outside frequently. To put a garbage waste area in our neighborhood would not only kill our property values, but kill the aesthetics of the entire area. Not to mention the large amount of traffic that we are hearing about that's going to be coming in and out of the facility. Plus, it also sounds like he may have some serious issues with making a profit, which is difficult in these times. This, facility, you need to find another location. It is just going to kill our property values, kill the entire area for all our residents here. You need to find another location. This is terrifying. We vehemently oppose this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Melissa Moss. Melissa Moss.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Moss, and I'm president of the Beaver Dam Community Development Association. In Beaver Dam, we have over 560 homes. These are all people who have to travel along Beaver Dam Road to get into or out of the community. Right now, apparently, we are looking at, in phase 1, according to Mr. Allison, 3 trucks coming in an hour. But by phase 3, there would be 10 trucks coming in an hour. All these trucks burn diesel fuel. Now, you may not realize that Beaver Dam is a very long, narrow valley, 5 miles long. It has mountains on 3 sides and Route 40 on the other side. When I come down out of my house, which is on Long Branch, and come down toward Canton, I often hit a fog bank about the time I reach Rice Cove Road. Why? Because diesel fuel is particulate, and diesel fuel, which will fuel all these trucks, attracts moisture, and we get big fog banks from mile marker 30 to mile marker 35 along Route 40. Sometimes the Highway Patrol stops the traffic dead along 40. Think how this will be increased exponentially with all the trucks coming in to this recycling plant. The reason the fog bank sits there is because the fog cannot push over Newfound Mountain and Howell Mountain to our east. So it has to wait for the sun to warm it up. And while that's going on, those trucks are just dieseling away, and all that effluent goes down Beaver Dam Valley, bringing the fog and the smog with it. We don't want the asthma that this will cause. We don't want the sickness that this will cause. Regardless of incinerators or anything else, the truck situation needs to be addressed seriously and looked at seriously. The trucks coming into ConMed have trouble turning right to get on to Beaver Dam Road and turning left to get into the plant. And now you're going to say, we're going to have 10 more of these an hour at least? Not a good plan, gentlemen. I hope you will vote against this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Grace.
Hi, I'm Carol Grace, and I'm a resident and a taxpayer and a voter. And mostly what I would like to say are more of my concerns. I had a lot of questions, and a lot of them were answered today, and I appreciate that. I have done the research. I thought, like one of the ladies that said earlier, when I first came across this, I said, oh, wow, this sounds wonderful. But I started looking at the backgrounds of the people, and I thought, I don't like this. This doesn't seem right. People don't seem to have the business background, and I'd like more information on that. And again, the pollution from the trucks and the valley situation, as Melissa Moss stated, and the water, like other people have stated. My main concern, is this thing gets pushed through, and then it fails. I hope to God you don't. But if it should, then we have to clean up the mess on all levels. And the other question is, why do we have to take trash from every other place? I mean, from other counties and states. I mean, what is the purpose of that? I mean, I realize jobs are extremely important. Look, I've had to work all my life, and I liked having a job. But you know, the bottom line can't always be the almighty dollar. There's got to be more to things. We need a little bit more time to look at this. It looks good in Germany, in the European model. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that and see the place over in Kansas. I looked that up, and I didn't get that much information from the internet. I saw their little blurbs. Again, if people are really happy, and this is a wonderful thing, and this is going to be the way to go, we need to know more. But the truck situation, that's got to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Haley Wells. Haley Wells. Okay. Debbie King.
I'm Debbie King, and my husband and I were here 2 weeks ago today. That was when this first became public, the waste plan for Beaver Dam. I live in Beaver Dam. It's a place that thousands of us call home long before this October 5th announcement of the waste plan to process 25 tons per hour in our community. The presentation made it sound like it was going to, save our landfill, when in reality, the tonnage of waste, it's going to be astronomical what they're going to be bringing in out of state. They're creating a problem, in my opinion. Ken Allison said that he hopes to process 30 to 90%. So that leaves up to 70% that now we're hearing we don't even know where that might go. The Second Amendment to the Sanitary Landfill Operation Agreement states that at no time will any out-of-state waste be accepted in the landfill. So why are we bringing so much waste into Haywood County? We're in the dark about Phase 2 and about Phase 3 of this process. What type of processing is going to go on in those phases? Will there be more waste coming in? Or will there be a different type of process? You said that there will be no incinerator on that property. However, the solid waste management plan was revised a while back to say Haywood County is exploring all options for incinerators with energy recovery, but has yet to find a viable, cost-effective means to make this work. So I'm wondering if you'd be willing to put a moratorium on any incinerator or waste-to-energy process right now, because this is moving too fast. Regarding the tax revenue, during the October 5th presentation, Allison said, "We are a recycling center. They are simply going to separate and bale and send it out to processors." He went on to say, "This is simply recycling." Ira Dove said, "It brings capital investment out there, which is all taxable. That is not a nonprofit of $24.8 million. That's if they build out the 3 phases." Clasby is quoted in the Smoky Mountain as saying that the county will get around $100,000 a year in property taxes from the company should all 3 phases come to fruition. I found an application last night when I've been doing research on this, and it's for recycling and/or resource recovery tax exemption and tax certificate.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. King. Your time's up. Okay. Penny Caldwell. Penny Caldwell.
Hi, thank you for your time. My name is Penny Caldwell, and I'm a North Carolina teacher and a landowner in the Beaver Dam community. I have one question. Does this project contribute to a net public benefit? No, I don't believe so. Jobs must be the backbone of any economic development investment undertaken by a local government in North Carolina. I encourage you to evaluate for yourself the job creation possibilities under this project. Be sure to take a look at the jobs that were proposed in the Buncombe County project as your starting point. The investment in this project is in the automation, not the jobs. And look very closely at the proposed wages. Do we expect this project to pay wages above those currently being paid in our county for work that is already being done here? This is an automated waste sorting equipment, not rocket science. Not all jobs and not all capital investment qualify as creating public benefit. The jobs and investments being proposed do not improve and diversify the economic base of Haywood County, nor does this project attract the students who we are currently training at HCC. This project does not diversify our economy. We already have recycling, transfer stations, and waste disposal. This project may be just as likely to destabilize and weaken the current business opportunities for those currently in the waste management industry for a net loss of jobs and diversity. Haywood County is not in competitions with other states or anyone for that matter for this project. The economic reality of this incentive proposal should also come under scrutiny. Take a look at the cost. $1.1 million is what they were willing to pay for the Buncombe County property. And then tell me that the clawbacks contained in this proposal are at all relevant. This group is ready and willing to pay significantly more for this property. This project primarily benefits Mr. Allen and his investors in New York. This is not an appropriate use of Beaver Dam Industrial Park and the investment supported by the Haywood County taxpayers. This is not an appropriate project for Haywood County. As landowners behind the industrial park, we are aware that industries will be moving in, and I support jobs for Haywood County. When we purchased and read the deed restrictions for the industrial park, we felt very well protected. Some of those deed restrictions have not been enforced since we have been there, and who is to say that the same thing will not happen with a dirty MRF trash outside? We feel that those restrictions, that nobody will ever finally come up and say that hasn't been done, and I don't think it's going to be done now. I feel the second and third phase of this project will never happen, and that area will become a dumping ground for heavy metals and organic materials that cannot be sent to a landfill or recycled. As a teacher who would prepare her students, I say to you, please spend more time researching this project and getting real, factual information. Again, this is not the best for the citizens of Haywood County. Thank you.
Denny King. Denny King.
I'm going to finish what my wife was talking about. I'm not an expert on it like she is. However, I think, Mr. Allison, if you recycle in North Carolina, you are tax exempt. According to the North Carolina Division of Waste Management, and you all need to look that up because I think that could be, and you may know about it, I don't know, but McCrory signed a bill about in 2013 to make recycling facilities tax exempt. That means if that's true, we will not be getting $100,000 tax revenue off of this property. I wanted to mention a few more problems with this property. There are major issues with deed restrictions, and I think these deed restrictions are being ignored, but they're real. This was clear from the arrogant remarks Mr. Swanger made about the neighbors above the landfill. Those properties have restrictions of what you can do and what you can't do. And I don't want to see people run over or the restrictions changed because we want this company to come in. The Renos certainly wanted to protect this land because they put restrictions in theirs. No portion of the subject property may be used for or maintained as a dumping ground for rubbish, trash, or garbage, and no trash shall be kept upon the property except in sanitary containers. In Haywood County Deed 454-2007, it states that no owner shall accumulate on his lot any form of junk, litter, refuge, or garbage. And then we also have a North Carolina state statute 158-7.1B1. I think this is also a major issue for this sale going through. It says that a county or city may acquire and develop land for an industrial park to be used for manufacturing, assembly, fabrication, processing, warehousing, research and development, office use, or similar industrial or commercial purpose. Does this sound like one of those to you? No. We will not allow you to destroy the health of our people, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the worth of our homes, the future of our children. This whole deal really stinks, and something is wrong.
Kevin Glenn. Kevin Glenn.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kevin Glenn. My daughter and her family are homeowners and taxpayers here. I myself live in Transylvania County, and I am a founder and a past chairperson of People for Clean Mountains, a group that was started to stop Mr. Allison and his scheme that he tried to pull over on us 2.5 years ago. A few things he did forget to mention is there was a dirty MRF on the front end of the biomass facility in Transylvania County he forgot to mention to y'all. He also forgot to mention that he was an equity partner in that biomass facility, even though he said his family was just selling the land. I wonder if you commissioners in your due diligence, which a woman spoke to so eloquently earlier, did you talk to any of the other county commissioners of the places that have shut him down? The big mistake that he made in Transylvania County was to have his public forum before the vote. He could not back up any of his numbers, and even our commissioners saw through it and told him no. Transylvania County stands with you in opposition. People for Clean Mountains offers its support in any information that we have. We have plenty of videos of Mr. Allison and his cohorts talking to us in Transylvania County. And it all was smoke and mirrors. And when you peel it all the way, there was nothing left. So beware. The last thing I do need to say is in Mr. Allison's world, gasification and pyrolysis are not incineration. So beware that. Thank you.
Mary Lou Barnes. Mary Lou Barnes.
Good evening. I know this has gone on long. I'll try to be brief. I'm a new resident as of 6 years past Beaver Dam. I'm down off of Beaver Dam Road. However, I have some concerns. I'm not sure the due diligence, I don't know what your due diligence was, but perhaps, and I'm not saying you didn't do it, but perhaps it needs to go a little further to have a few more things answered. But my concern is the neighbors, ConMed. What do they think about this facility coming in their area? And I don't know if you have an answer for that. Secondly, the road. The road is already dangerous with the increase in business, which is good for the county, but that road is already dangerous. If you kind of look at the people that live out here, it's very dangerous. The school buses, the kids, everybody on it. Something needs to be addressed about that road and these semi-trucks that are going up and down it. Also, definitions and details need to be more specific. Something like minimal or somewhat or terms like that are not enforceable. You need to have really enforceable terms to be able to monitor, regulate, and be able to do what is against the deeds, if they've broken something in the deeds or in the contract. We need to have more definable terms than what I have seen in some of the things that I've read on the internet from the Transylvania County and also from Buncombe County. So I think taking a little more time, stretching this out, doing a little more due diligence on it to satisfy the answers here. I mean, it might be a good deal. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of unanswered questions that need to be answered. Thank you.
Nicole Harley.
I'm not Nicole.
Really?
So, I'm David Harley. I'm a citizen, a father of 3, and I'm a physician. I know incineration's not on the docket tonight. Debbie King spoke about the volume of garbage. She spoke about the quote from the Haywood County Solid Waste Management. Page 16. Haywood County is exploring all options for incineration with energy recovery. As incineration seems to be on the table here in Haywood County, and because of Mr. Allison's previous interest in incineration in Transylvania County, as a physician, I am compelled to outline a few of the well-known health risks involved in the incineration of garbage. One example of a byproduct of incineration is dioxin, one of the most lethal non-biodegradable pollutants, which has irreparable environmental and health consequences. The medical risks of breathing the air and of consuming food and water contaminated by these compounds are many and include cancer and neurologic damage, as well as disruption of the reproductive, endocrine, and respiratory systems. Again, I know we're not talking about incineration, but I feel like we're on a slippery slope if the volume of garbage exceeds that which can be processed. And I'm certainly all for capitalism and the free market. I'm a business person myself. I have businesses both in Asheville and here in Haywood County. Recently, we purchased 26 acres in Beaver Dam to improve the business climate here and to increase job opportunities. So far, we have 2 brand new buildings housing 2 businesses with 15 new jobs brought into the county in less than 2 years. These are clean, growing businesses which Haywood County should be proud of. We are building more buildings up in the future. I say all this to bring forward an option for the board to consider. I would be willing to purchase the proposed 55-acre tract of land for $500,000. That's $50,000 more than the county will be receiving from Regional Recycling Solutions. I will work with the county to recruit businesses to the area, and we will build beautiful new buildings for them to reside in. This will bring more jobs to the area and greater tax revenue. Most importantly, we will not be bringing in more garbage and waste into this county and community. And the need and likelihood for an incinerator will be much less likely. Thank you.
Thank you. Jack Stanford.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. I live in the Beaver Dam community with my wife and my daughter. I'd like to bring some technical questions. 25 tons an hour at 20% household waste. That's 40 tons, 80,000 pounds. Well, I was going to touch on the contaminants that had heavy metals, but Mr. Cabe had already touched on that. Well, Mr. Allison, with the heavy metals that could be in that 80,000 pounds, will you guys be putting in test monitoring wells in the surrounding fields that's currently pastures to test the water, the groundwater periodically?
We have an engineered leachate system and a concrete floor, so it's not like a landfill where you're actually putting product into the earth.
Okay.
That would be captured, and we have an engineered leachate drainage system in the floor. That's one of the nice things about doing it in a controlled environment in a building.
Well, before the 1990s, every dry cleaning company in the United States used a chemical that actually penetrated the concrete, penetrated everything, went straight to the groundwater. And currently, you can look at Asheville, Riverview, Milco, they're sitting on a dry cleaning company. They are facing a battle right now where they're having to try to fight those heavy metals. So, yeah, right now you may be able to potentially block some of those heavy metals, but on down the road, eventually you're going to have exposure. You said that trucks would bring them in, and if they left, you're still going to have exposure out on the asphalt. Asphalt is not a solid surface that will prevent anything. It takes on moisture, it'll take it on and go straight to the groundwater. Secondly, I have firsthand knowledge of testing groundwater. I actually tested the groundwater at the Francis Farm wells. I did that. I've worked on the methane burn-off pads at the Francis Farm. The county has their bus plant up there right now. Why is it that the county cannot put this glorified dump that's so-called a recycling plant at the White Oak plant right now? We have all that excess land. Cap it off with clay, burn off the methane, put the building down there. Nobody that I know in this building will want to have a birthday party or a convention in his visitor center. I'm not taking my daughter to a dump to have her birthday party. I'm not trying to be smart about it. I'm just saying, you got plenty of land that the county currently has. Put the building down there. It's close to Tennessee. That saves him on transportation. You can get right off of White Oak exit instead of coming in to the beautiful valley of Beaver Dam. You come off of Haywood County, into Haywood County, the first thing you see is the beautiful Newfound Valley in Beaver Dam. Now it will be known as the dump over there in Beaver Dam. The next thing I wanted to hit on is why would the county
I'm sorry, sir, your time is up.
All right, thanks.
Shelley, stand back.
Thank you all for being here tonight. And thank you for taking the time to really listen. And, despite some of what I had read about Mr. Swagner's statement, I hope it really does mean something for you that we're here I've never spoken in a situation like this before, but we are recyclers. We live in Haywood. We've been taxpayers for over 20 years in Haywood. And we have worked hard to work with our community and bring the property values up through ecological restoration and other things. And the property values have been going up for them. And, excuse me, I do live down that road, and I enjoy seeing the children walking to each other's homes, the children waiting at bus stops, the farmers who have had to take some of those big tractor-trailer trucks, many of them, even after the big signs are put in, they just bypass them. They get jackknifed in there. And it's really a very narrow and dangerous situation. And being a recycler ourselves, like our other neighbor, well, you know, this really did catch my attention, and it seemed like a very good thing. And then when I started to follow the application trail that Mr. Allison has, it's very, very inconsistent. This, at one point, I thought, what is this? It sounds like a way to bring waste from other places and hide it under the word recycling. And we are recyclers, and so it just kind of started to feel like putting natural on a bag because you will get certain people to buy it, but if you start reading the ingredients, it's nasty, just nasty. And I really don't know what this is about, but I do want to say, with the inconsistencies that he has already presented, and I'm going to just read a few because most everything has been touched on, that when he applied, you know, at Buncombe County, he projected a lot fewer jobs than he has stated that he's going to provide here. In Transylvania County, it was connected to an incinerator, and now it's not. Maybe not just here, but somewhere else potentially. Again, in Buncombe County, he projected 60 trucks you know, per day, and now he's saying only 15 to 20. And, you know, the list kind of goes on and on if you really look at it, and it's this man doesn't know what he's doing, obviously.
Thank you. Brad, stand back.
My name is Brad Stanback. I've lived in Beaver Dam community for over 25 years. I've been involved with a lot of conservation and ecological restoration projects in the area. But before that, I got an economics degree from Duke, an MBA from New York University, so I know how to evaluate investment proposals as well. I would not invest in this one. I might like a piece of the action of the gentleman that spoke earlier about taking advantage of Haywood County's impatience to unload this piece of property at a rock bottom price. I think sooner or later that will be worth a lot more for a better business to locate there. And don't lose patience. I know it seems like an unproductive asset right now, but it belongs to all of us. Don't give it away too cheap, and especially not at the risk of destroying our community.
Okay, is there anyone else? That concludes our list. Is there anyone else that hasn't spoken already? If you would, give me your name and your where you live so we can document it.
My name is Betty Jackson. I live in Buncombe County. I've been following politics here in Haywood with an eye to moving here. So I thought I'd come out here and say my piece tonight. I have three things. You've said that the trash might not go into the landfill depending upon the tonnage limits in the contract. Well, contracts get renegotiated all the time, so that's no real guarantee that it's not going to go into the landfill here. Single-stream MRF is the least efficient and, from an environmental perspective, the most inefficient way to recycle, as you have already heard from the experts. And I'd like to bring up the money thing. There was that slide that went up that said that 30 jobs were going to equal $1.5 million. At the salaries promised, I did this on my calculator, it would be $840,000 to $1.1 million at those salaries that were listed. And those figures are off by 56 to 73%, which is quite a bit less than promised. And I have a question. What else has been misrepresented by Mr. Allison?
My name's Kenneth Henson, and I wasn't going to say anything, but Mark and Kevin kind of forces me into saying something. Whenever the gentleman back here mentions the landfill in 5 to 7 years, well, I don't know how many years the landfill is, but I'm one of the ones, and I know they're relating to me, that it will be, within 10 years we'll be in trouble, and we'll be searching for sure, maybe in 5 years, but definitely in 10 years. If anyone here has ever milked a cow, if you've got a bucket and you start milking, if she gives a lot of milk, it'll fill up really quick. If you take a log truck and you start putting logs on it, in just a little while it'll fill up. It's so simple, and the best way I can explain to them and try to make them understand this. And when you've got a hole the size of this room and you start dumping buckets of sand in it, it'll fill up. If it'll fill up in 30 years from one county, you add 17 or 18 counties, how can it still last 30 years? Okay, and it's just simple. It's just real simple. I know y'all are way over our heads, and I know, Mark, that you're way over our heads, but this is just simple math. Who Mr. Upton is an educator, who he should be able to understand this, and that's just the way it is. And the problem with the Beaver Dam deal is y'all could have had a better chance with this if y'all would be more open and not come in and sneak in here it comes out on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then on a Monday, people pick up on it. You guys really need to think about that, because I truly do love Haywood County, and I think most of y'all do. I really do. So why can't at some time we can't say we're not against each other and say, hey, maybe we have done some of this stuff wrong. Maybe we need to appreciate you people. Maybe we need to be thankful. Because I know, you know, not long ago, Vicki wrote how I was a crazy and the group of the crazies in the paper. Yeah. And Mark, I thank you. There's a couple of people called me and said, you're not going to do anything? And I said, man, at least he's talking about us. I like it. And, you know, no, we're really not. We're really not crazy. We love this county, and I wish that y'all would be more open with people, more straight up with people, because people have lost trust in y'all. And if you would, you can always turn around. Back when I was a kid, I was a hooligan, and, you know, a lot of people, I'd be going up and down the road, and they'd say, man, he needs to straighten up. And I did need to straighten up. And I did straighten up, and people started believing in me. And they will believe in y'all. And they'll believe in anyone. But you can't hide stuff from the people who votes for you. None of y'all, I know, none of y'all have ever one time went into a restaurant kissing a baby, patting somebody on the butt, and saying, I'm going to be real hidden with what I do. I will bring it out on a Thursday, and on a Monday, we will vote on it. You don't do that, so do what you say you'll do.
Thank you.
And it will help y'all. Thank you.
Okay, we got time for a couple more speakers. So we had rules, and do you want to speak? Okay, we're not racing to the podium here. So.
Well, I was tripping.
Okay, go ahead. Then Jane, you be next.
I mean, tripping on my feet. No, I'm Ray Hearn. My family, we own a lot of land over there in Sandy Mush. A little bit comes in Haywood County. Well, when I moved down here in 1998, I always knew it was going to rain when we smelled the mill. I have a big concern about air. And I'm also very much in favor of stringent recycling. But the idea of a lot of more diesel trucks coming into this area is very alarming to me. It will drift over into bucolic Sandy Mush. And I'm also love coming over here into Haywood County. I've just read an article recently about the fact that very fine particulates contribute to early onset dementia. And none of us, as we get older, want to be thinking about early onset dementia. So I would like to recommend that you all really seriously look into the problems with diesel truck pollution. Thank you.
Okay. Jane?
My name is Jane Hips, and I came to this forum to listen. And I want to thank you for providing this opportunity for folks to speak. I've been in this county since 1968. I very well remember the 1980s when there was a threat of a high-level nuclear waste dump in the Beaver Dam community. And I will ask you, commissioners, to please look at this issue very carefully and take into concern the quality of this community for the futures and the generation to come. Thank you.
Okay, last speaker.
Hi, my name is Nicole Harley. I'm referred to as Denny and Debbie's daughter. Anyways, I'm going to finish reading what she was reading with her speech under tax provision information. And what it says is real and personal property tax. Real or personal property tax that is used or if under construction is to be used exclusively for recycling or rescue recovery is exempt from being listed, appraised, assessed, or taxed by state or local government after an approved certification. So I'm not sure we can even get tax from this waste business. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make a couple of comments. One, people saying it's sneaking around. You sure? We must be bad at it because this room was full of people tonight. So I think there's ample evidence that we were transparent. We talked about it in open session. We scheduled a public hearing. You're here tonight. We're going to have a second public hearing in 2 weeks. So I'm a little bit of a loss about that. You know, if we disagree, that doesn't make you bad people. It doesn't make us bad people. People can disagree on topics. Any married man knows that. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't mean you're bad or that there's something wrong with you if you hold a different view than somebody else. As long as we base it on facts, you know, and we keep hearing incineration and things that just aren't going to happen because it scares people, and that's why people keep using it, in my view. So we'll take a look at several things. I've been making notes tonight. I know Kirk and the other commissioners have as well. We'll certainly take a look at this other questions and ask questions. Kirk, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
I just wanted to thank everyone for being here. It's actually kind of nice to have a room full of people at the commissioners meeting for a change. I can't remember having this many people since we had the nuisance ordinance, and I'm sure some of you remember it because I know some of you are here. And fortunately, I didn't get called as many names at this meeting as I did at that one. I think there's been some good points made by people this evening and some issues that I would like to address. The employee issue came up as far as the number of employees that were proposed in Buncombe and here, Mr. Allison, I'd like for us to hear about that. And certainly check on, I'm sure we've checked on the tax exempt status. We don't want that to be a surprise. And of course, Mark touched on the fact that there will not be an incinerator of any kind. I think some of the issues, hopefully, that were resolved are the noise issue, the smell issue, and no visible garbage. You know what the facility it would look like. Some of the things about the community that were brought up that I'm not necessarily surprised with, but is the fact that this was a designated industrial park. It's not as if we are taking over a piece of property or selling a piece of property somewhere that has not been a designated industrial park. And some of the things over the last 12 years that we've had in the community is we never talk about zoning. That's a bad thing. We never deal with that. And the fact of the matter is just when we have a designated industrial park, that's what we plan to utilize that for. And certainly if there was anyone here that had a piece of property and I was trying to tell them what to do with their property by zoning, there would be twice as many people in this room. So I want you to consider the fact that we're not trying to take a piece of property and do something with it that is not allowable. Some of the facts about that it's too good to be true. The fact of the matter is when it comes down to the sale of this property, if it takes place and this is a hearing and there has been no deals worked out of any kind despite what you may think, there has to be real money paid and there has to be real buildings built and there has to be real jobs produced. If they're not, there are penalties to that. And so those things are real. Some of the comments that were made tonight concern me about if this doesn't necessarily come to maturity, what are we going to do with this piece of property that is satisfactory to the people in Beaver Dam? It is an industrial site, and we do want to bring jobs to the community. I mean, that's something that we hear a lot of. When can you bring jobs? This property has been vacant for 8 years. 8 years we've had a developable site, and there's been nothing placed on the property. So this did come to us. That's why we're here having a meeting about it and discussing it. One of the things that I thought about with this project was the fact that because I wasn't necessarily pleased with the number of jobs that it produces as far as taking a larger tract of land and utilizing it. But then on the other side of it, what other options have we had recently? And in the last 8 years, we haven't had any options. Also, it does do recycling, and I think we owe it to future generations to take care of waste and reduce waste. So I thought that was a plus. I thought some good things were brought up this evening about the fact that the county is continuing to grow, and I do believe it is growing. Does that mean that we will have more industry or more options available to us to utilize this in the future? And I'm not certain about that. There's no question that the restrictions will be abided to. I draft restrictions, and the county will comply with whatever restrictions are on this property. Some issues with the road that were brought up, I think that are certainly founded. I'm not certain how we would address the road issues, but I'm also certain that almost any industry that comes out there that utilizes this, there will be additional traffic, whether those are additional employees coming there, additional trucks coming there. You're going to have a lot of transportation. If you take Evergreen and you go look at what the number of trucks that come in and through the town of Canton, it is tremendous. And I would say the amount of trucks coming into this area would be less than that. I am interested in Mr. Harley. I would appreciate the fact that Mr. Harley brought up the fact that he would be interested in purchasing the property for $500,000 and what he might want to do with it, and the possibility of talking with him about that. That's a pretty profound statement. I've been doing this for 13 years. Nobody's offered $500,000. And you know, some of the comments are very valid that are made, and some of them are very much exaggerated. And sometimes, I certainly don't mind people presenting their point of view, but sometimes the exaggeration is not necessarily warranted. The life of the landfill is guaranteed. The life of our landfill is guaranteed. It's guaranteed by bonds, and we can address that further. And I hear some issues with that, and we'll have more hearings to address that and come up with the answers to those questions. One thing I will say is I just don't think that I know that we comply with open meetings. And, you know, I know there's been a lot of negative comments about Mark made, and 12 or 13 years ago, Mark ran against each other, and it was tough. But, you know, we have always tried to be open with these meetings and open with issues and open with discussion. And if this is not a product of open discussion, I don't know what is, because there has been no determination made about what is to happen. And at any rate, those are the comments that I have. I know that you said we were going to have another hearing to where everyone else, you'll have the opportunity to come back and say the very same thing you did or say something else. But I do appreciate very much everyone being here.
Yep.
Let me say I appreciate everyone coming out, because we have never had this kind of crowd before. We've had 2 or 3 or 4 people in the audience, so we appreciate your concern. I took more notes tonight than I have since I was in high school or college. So we started off with Ronnie Brookster was number 1, and we finished up with Nicole Harley, 41 speakers. We take what you say seriously. I know Ira will go through the tape. Bless your heart, Ira. And we'll make sure we get information out to you to answer questions that Kurt had, I had, and other people have. You know, we have to have those answered to some degree before a decision is made. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you saying, you know, in 2 weeks we'll have a hearing. So it would be, what, a month down the road before we even voted on the issue. So I heard a lot of people saying tonight, you know, this was too fast. Well, it slowed down a little bit. So we're talking about 4 weeks. So if we can't get it answered in 4 weeks, that's our fault. So again, thank you. And when you go home, drive carefully and sleep well, and try to get over the football game.
Michael?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate the questions, the concerns that's brought up. I mean, there's a few questions that, you know, that I have jotted down that I want to look into. Also, it's, you know, there's been a lot of misrepresentation out there about this. I think, you know, I've had 3 phone calls, I think. I've tried to explain the situation. Maybe 1 or 2 of the people that's in here tonight, actually, I had conversations with. A couple of people come visit me. We talked about it. I've had not a lot of emails, but we tried to answer what I got. And but I appreciate y'all's concern. Appreciate y'all coming out here. And you know, in game, you know, we are trying to do what's best for Haywood County, trying to provide jobs and trying to provide growth. You know, we looked at this as a low-impact industry with potential to help our people. So, but I do thank you again, and we will look at these questions. Thank you.
Kevin?
I'll just, I don't want to belabor it. Kirk and you and everybody's already gone over what I would say. So I appreciate everybody coming out. And I will say, beyond the Beaver Dam Valley, I have had a lot of positive comments about this, just to let y'all know. I mean, we have to represent the whole county, as Michael said, and so we've got to be able to benefit the whole county and future generations. And one of the reasons that the landfill fee went up this year, the sole reason really, was because of the environmental disaster we had at Francis Farm, and we're having to fix that. And I do think in the next 4 or 5 years that'll be fixed. And we'll have that environmental disaster behind us, and we're not passing it on to the next generation. We don't want to do that. We want to take care of it now and not let the next generation have to take care of it. But I will say that I appreciate everybody coming out and y'all taking your time. If y'all want to stay a couple more hours, you can watch our other meeting. So thank y'all for coming.
Yeah. All right. Again, I'll say the same thing. We appreciate you coming. And for those who care, I'm not retiring to Florida, by the way. So we'll take a brief recess. Unless you want to stay, you're certainly welcome to do so.